Hello everybody, I'm Kat, and welcome to my first official unhaul. Now, I've unhauled books in the past, but I've never filmed one of these videos, and I don't know why, but I just never did. But today, I have decided to film it. I have 20 books here that I'm going to unhaul. A lot of these books are books I have not read yet. There are a few that I have read, but most of these books I've just lost interest in reading and don't really plan on reading them anytime soon. Okay, we're gonna start off with something a little less controversial. The very first book I have here is Two Summers by Amy Friedman. I'm really not interested in reading this book at the moment. If I do end up becoming interested in it, I have a copy on Audible, so I can always just listen to it there. I'm just not interested right now. The next book I have here is one that everyone on BookTube read a couple of years ago, and that is The One Memory of Flora Banks. I don't know, I'm just not into it. Like, people gave it meh reviews. I don't see myself reading it anytime soon. If I do, I will probably just end up checking it out from the library. I don't want to read a meh book unless I want to read a meh book, you know? Like, if I were interested in reading it, then I probably would read it, but I wasn't that into it when it first came out, and then people gave it meh reviews, so I don't know why I held on to it for so long, but I'm finally getting rid of it. The next book is one that I actually just bought this summer, so if you go back to a book haul from a couple of months ago, you will probably see it there, and that is The Bells by Danielle Clayton. Once again, I'm just not interested in reading this book. People gave it horrible reviews. They weren't liking it at all. It's also a huge book. Like, if I want to invest in a 500-page book, I want to be interested in reading it. And this one, I'm just not into at all. Like, the premise sounded cool, but then people were saying it's not good. This next book is a book that I have been going on and off between donating and keeping for literally the past year. And finally, I decided that it was time to give it up because I'm never gonna read it. And that is also known as by Robin Benway. I'm just not into spies right now. This would have been perfect back when I read the Gallagher Girls series by Ali Carter, but now I'm just not into it. I haven't really been in a spy mood in a long time, and I don't think I ever will be in the near future. This one kind of makes me sad, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I'm gonna read it. This next series is another one that makes me sad, but I just have to be honest with myself, and that is the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants books. I only have the first 3 books in the series. I read the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, I want to say 2 years ago now. It was like right before I started my YouTube channel. I'm gonna be honest, it put me in a reading slump. Like, I read it, it was meh. I watched the movie before I read the book. This is one of the rare times where I actually prefer the movie over the book. The book was slow and boring, and it's only that big. So I don't think I'm gonna read the other 2 books. This kind of makes me sad, but I just have to be honest with myself because I'm never gonna read the rest of these books. The next book I am donating is The Summer of Chasing Mermaids by Sarah Auckler. I got this book 4 years ago now. It sounds adorable. The premise sounds really cute, but once again, I just need to be honest with myself. I do not see myself reading this book at all. It's a Little Mermaid retelling. I'm just not into that right now. The next book I have here is going to spark a little controversy, but you know, we love that here, and that is The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. This book series is well loved on BookTube, and I cannot figure out why. I started reading this book back in August. I blame my reading slump on this book, the big one that I'm still in. I was listening to the audiobook, and the audiobook narrator was fine, but this was the first time that I listened to an audiobook and I didn't care about the book. Like, not even the narrator could grab me in. It was so slow, so boring, I didn't care about the characters, and this is another one that I do have the audiobook of still, so if I am interested in picking it back up, I will go straight to the audiobook, but this bored me. And if you watch my Booktubeathon vlog from 2018, I think I pick up this book during Booktubeathon. Like, I think I started it and I was like, this could be cool. It wasn't. I haven't even seen the movie yet, but I've heard it's horrible, so like, I just don't care. And these next 2 books are other books that make me sad that I'm giving away because I do have a little bit of interest in reading them, but I don't see myself reading them at all in the near future, and that is Alice in Zombieland and Through the Zombie Glass. I love Alice in Wonderland retellings, but I'm just not interested in zombies right now. I'm not a fan of zombies. I like Shaun of the Dead, but like, that's it. I don't see myself reading these at any point in the future, and if I do, want to pick this up, I will definitely check out the library book of it. The next book I have here is Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth. So the reason that I am donating this book is because, one, Veronica Roth, I'm not a fan of her writing. I'm not really that interested in this book. It sparked a huge controversy. People liked the first book. No one I know picked up the second book. I don't know if Veronica's writing style has changed since Divergent, but I wasn't a fan of her writing style back then. I don't know if I will be now. I've also heard that it's told from like first person and also third person, so that would confuse the heck out of me, and I would not want that right now. It's a beautiful book. Like, the cover is gorgeous, but I'm just not gonna read it. The next book I have here is The Takedown by Corey Wang. People were talking about this on BookTube, I want to say like a year ago, so I picked it up amongst all the hype, and I don't see myself reading this. It sounds very Gossip Girl-esque, and I don't know, I wasn't that big of a fan of Gossip Girl. It kind of sounds cool, like the technological part of it, but like, I don't know. I'm not interested in it right now. The next book I have here is The Amateurs by Sarah Shepard. I read Pretty Little Liars back when I was in middle school, and that was at a time when I gave everything I read like 5 stars. I think I gave Pretty Little Liars like 3 stars. I wasn't a fan of her writing. I've heard the writing here is not good at all. I've heard the sequel is absolutely awful. Once again, just not interested. And finally, this is probably the most controversial book I have, or book series I have on this list, and that is the Divergent series by Veronica Roth. I read Divergent again back in middle school along with Pretty Little Liars, and once again this was at a time when I gave everything I read 5 stars. I distinctly remember giving Divergent only 3 stars. So because of that, I am never gonna reread it, because if I didn't like it at a time when I liked everything I read, I am definitely not gonna like it now. I remember skimming Insurgent and most of Allegiant. I read 4 and was like, what the heck? And I think I even read the short story We Can Be Mended or something like a year ago, and I was like, this is pointless. Just not a fan of Veronica Roth's writing in this series, not a fan of the characters, not a fan of the world. I would say I've grown out of it, but I didn't like it back when I read it. I hated Triss, I didn't like 4, I didn't like the world, I didn't like the writing. Like, I didn't like it then. I'm not gonna like it now. You know, I think it was just time, because they were taking up shelf space when I could use that shelf space for more copies of Lord of Shadows. That was probably the worst joke I ever made. But watch my book haul to understand that joke. I'm done with this series. It's time to say goodbye. I'm gonna break up with it. Alright, and those are the books that I'm donating. I believe I'm going to donate these books to my local library. People can now read them and love them the way I didn't or don't plan to. But that is it for this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post videos every Thursday, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!